Give it up for my sister, please. Come on. And you gotta buy the book. Come on. That's your lead.
So, if we haven't learned anything about Mr. Spike Lee, we learned that he is a very dedicated man. He showed us what it means to be committed, right? Whether you have your good days or your bad days, he was loyal and he was committed, and look, we won.
That's right.
53 years, goddamn. No more than that.
Yeah, let's give it up for New York. I'm so happy to be home. And I am especially happy. You know, I met Spike. What year did She's Gotta Have It? 1986, I was just getting out of college. No, I don't even know if I was out of college yet.
No.
No, okay, I wasn't out yet.
After going to Morehouse, I went to NYU Graduate Film School. So it's out the film school.
For me, I was just getting out of college. And I sat in the audience watching She's Gotta Have It. And I said, that's my new friend. And somehow we became friends. And I got a small part in some of his film. And then he created the MalcolmX movie. Yeah. And at the time, I was working at William Morris Agency, and I think it was Norman Jewison. You see, you didn't know that. Norman Jewison.
Yeah, Norman Jewison.
Yes. And so Spike, you know, fortunately, got his hands on this MalcolmX movie.
I campaigned for it.
You did. You campaigned for this movie.
I'd like to say this though is that I gotta give his respect and all this. It was his film. And I went on a semi-campaign to try easy to direct and what's the guy's name?
MalcolmX?
So what?
No, he's on the rights.
Who did that?
He got us together. He was producer on the film. He bought the rights from Alex Haley.
So he called me and said, well, I need you to be quiet. And I'll arrange. And I told him why to direct this film, and he said, okay. He didn't have to do that. I mean, Denzel was on, they already done Hurricane together. No juice. And that's how it began.
And it was an iconic film. It was iconic. He did an excellent job. I especially liked the opening with the unfortunate beating of Rodney King, and then we see the American flag burn into an axe.
Warner Brothers did not like that.
But how incredible was that? That was incredible.
Marvin Worth.
Marvin Worth, right.
Because he got the rights.
Another friend.
Not all of our Malcolm's ass toe down. And that I had worked with Denzel before on
More Better Blues. More Better Blues.
I mean, if you
More
remember
Better.
More Better
Yep.
So it's More Better, MalcolmX, He Got Game.
Inside Man.
And the latest that you used to see at home now called Highest to Lowest. So
Highest to Lowest.
it's 5
Excellent.
films with this great actor.
So what brings you here today?
You know, you sent the message via pigeon carrier And I figured out the ankle. He got ankles and I said, bet, let's go.
Yeah. Okay, okay. So, how many of you have the book?
We didn't come out.
You know when it came out. Remember we were at the
I'm at the date.
Oh, May 19th.
You're not the only one here. We got him in the back.
Yes.
So please. Now, what did you say that you were telling me backstage about this book and
Yes.
the instant?
Yes, I wish I could, I'm also teaching the MalcolmX seminar at John Jay College. I'm really excited about that. Yeah. And so I always want to ask the questions as opposed to, sit up and answer the questions. And so I almost want to ask someone like you, Joanna, I know you've read, you're not finished, but I know that you've read a lot. Joanna is the executive director of the MalcolmX Memorial Foundation in Omaha, Nebraska. And I'm always so proud of the fact that in a red state, she got a $20 million grant.
Yes.
Omaha, Nebraska. In Nebraska.
Cornhuskers.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it goes to show you that there are some people who understand who Malcolm really was, right?
What is happening in Omaha with that house? I'm hearing some stuff.
Well, that's what Joanna, we can.
Wasn't there some type of? Oh, you got it straight? Good. We'll leave that alone.
That little house, that was my father's brother's house, but that wasn't their home. Everyone gets that.
But there's this guy. And he collects stuff, right? Doesn't he have Shorty's trumpet or something like that? What? Shorty's a character, in the movie. I didn't play trumpet in the movie. I was Shorty. But who is this guy that has all these artifacts? And he said that he lent somebody. To who? So where's the trumpet? Oh, we'll go on. Let's leave that alone.
So how many of you guys are excited to see Spike?
Now, come on, we're here for our sisters.
Oh! Ah!
Do you have any questions?
I asked you, because my memory's getting bad, but I asked you when was the first time you saw the film? And you talked about that, and all your moms were there.
So I remember when, of course, the screening, well, not the screening, the premiere.
At the old Ziegfeld. I'm sorry, it's no longer. That was the best theater.
And so we sat. Oh, you look like my sister then. And we sat at the theater. And with my mother, and right, you asked me that question, and and she watched the film, and it was a challenging film for her to watch, but I think she was really happy about it. That's it.
I mean, there was a lot of pressure on me. There were people like total strangers. They didn't want to talk with me.
What did you say?
There was tremendous pressure. Then, we had the whole Warner Brothers. Big thing was the money. We felt that we needed the time. Well, we needed time to tell a story, so Warner Brothers said, gave me the ultimatum that unless you cut the film, we're not going to use it. And now we went into a total depression, and then like a bolt of lightning, and I said, I know some African Americans that could write a check, but here's the thing, it was not going to be something that doesn't have to be a gift. It could be a write-off. And so I made a list of black folks that had some money, and I had their phone number. And Bill Cosby was the first person that he had the brownstone over the whole east side, and he said, come on up. He said, come on, down the subway, went, knocked on the door. He said, come on in. I said, I'm gonna stay out here. I told him, and he said, I'll send you the check in the mail. I said, Bill, write the check now. And I ran to the subway to deposit that check. And Prince, Tracy Chapman, Cooper Caverts, and the last two, there was Michael Jordan and Magic. And also, every time I had a list, so I was going in order, and after one person gave a gift, I was asking for more. So it was, the word is called escalation. And the last two on the list were Magic and my brother, born in Fort Greene Hospital, Cumberland Hospital, Michael Jordan, he was born in Brooklyn. Cumberland Hospital. He hates when I say that. Niggas, I'm sorry, I'm trying to Brooklyn. His father worked in Brooklyn Navy Yard. So Magic came through, and I just let it slip how much Magic gave to Michael. Magic gave what? How much did you spike? Boom. Well, the thing I left out is that Warner Brothers sent certified letters to all the people in the post-production. So they got fired. And so with these gifts, I was able to hire post-production staff, and we kept working. So it wasn't until your father's birthday, we had a press conference at the Schaumburg Library. At Schaumburg Library, we made a public announcement that these prominent African Americans gave gifts so we could continue. And the next day, the very next day, Warner Brothers started paying us. So it was it was not an easy thing, and I didn't come with the idea of, asking people for these gifts to them. It didn't happen overnight, so it was before that I was tossing and turning because what was I gonna do then? My crew had been fired.
Why do you think, what was it about Malcolm that made you so committed to doing the movie?
I read a biography that's told Alexander in high school, junior high school. And to this day, I read that book. And when I read that, it was 8th. And I had not gone to I went to John Dewey High School in Point Island. So that was like ninth grade, I was still in junior high school. So I think it was ninth grade. And it just still impacts me today. So I'm in eighth grade. I don't know what to be a filmmaker. But for me, it's a story of the United States of America and the struggle that people of color have had, you know, since we stole from Mother Africa. So, you know, just glad I read it. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Right.
Oh. Why did you write this book, Malcolm in the Desert? Thank you! And how many books have you written? How many books have you written?
So this is my sixth book.
6.
Wow.
How many other 5?
Yeah.
Another question.
Yeah.
Did it take you a while?
You know,
Like, this cannot be your first book.
let me get a
You got
flawless
this.
too.
It took you 5 years to get to this.
That's right.
You inspire
And so the reason that I wrote my first book, which was Growing Up X, well, I'll say my second book, the children's book, and that was really,
I ate just
you know,
before I
me
got here,
just
but
kind
I
of
ordered
becoming
some before I-
more of a seasoned author, was because I was in the mall with a bunch of children and they wanted to buy something. And I said, anything you want. We went to Barnes and Noble, they reached for books, and all the books that they reached for, there was nothing. At the time that I wrote my children's book, there were like no books on people of color for children. It was minimal. And I'm happy that today there are plenty to. There are many, many books. And so I wanted children to be able to open a book and see a reflection of themselves and also learn some history about Malcolm and the time period of the height of Jim Crow. But I wanted them to learn about the truth of who Malcolm was, because as we all know, the Malcolm that we learned about as children is not the Malcolm that we've come to know in our adults. And that is because my mother safeguarded the legacy of her husband. And she didn't safeguard this legacy because she wanted him to be famous. She safeguarded his body of work for the benefit of this young generation. And we can see how we have certainly evolved from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and so forth. But now, of course, it is our responsibility to make sure that they understand that they too have to pass on this legacy and this body of work, you know? And so I did a children's book, I did a middle school book, I did a young adult book, 2 young adult books. And I do want to say for the awakening of MalcolmX, it was really important for me to make sure that it was clear that Malcolm did not read the dictionary because he couldn't read or write, but he was incarcerated, 19, 20 years old. He was incarcerated and he joined the debate team. And this prison, which was a rehabilitative experimental prison where there were all these great books, and Malcolm was an avid reader from the time he was a child up until the time he transitioned, and so he read the dictionary because he wanted to be his best self, just to, you know, for lack of a better word. But go ahead with your next question.
So
What is the significance of this orange and blue that you're wearing?
Ah!
You trying to be funny? What did Joe Pesci say? Goodfellas? You saw how many Jody did, right? What we're here to talk about? Yeah. We thought we got the next step out of the
You gotta go out. And so, this book I'm really proud of because, yeah, I'm really so proud of it. Yeah, I'm really am.
But we gotta buy the book, so you can clap now, but your clap is saying you support.
We
our
got
sister
you.
here.
You definitely.
Buy the book.
You got it.
Sign it, too, right?
Yes.
You signed the book.
Oh, I'm going to sign the book. I signed your book. Yeah, so this book gets to focus on, the fact that my father was 39. He was 38 when he went abroad for the second time. And, I often think of him as such a young man and being burdened, by the injustice that occurs, the atrocities that we've endured, and seeking solutions to this, condition where people could just, commit these heinous acts, and sometimes we don't understand them. And the fact that...
And this new thing,
What's in the book?
you know what I'm talking about? Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
That's, and people told we're back to Emmett Till now.
Mm-hmm. Voter rights.
Back to the great Billy Holiday song Strange Fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Where our sisters and brothers are hanging from trees and authorities saying you committed suicide? Get the fuck out of here. We ain't doing that.
Young kid this weekend.
So,
That's a football player. Disappeared.
Thank you.
We'll catch up if you can later. And some more water. Appreciate it.
Involved with the nation. This think about the mothers. So, let's not get too comfortable. There's some stuff still happening. I don't know how our brother was hanging out with his friends. He was the one that he's not come back. No one knows what.
We have to educate our children
Yes.
on the safety.
Yes.
It's okay to hang around with people that's different, but you have
No,
to
speak louder so we hear you.
It's okay to, because people were against Malcolm X due to, him wanting separate, but it's okay, but also educate your children to know the dangers. And not everybody, unfortunately, is safe to be around. So you could be cordial, but you should also be vigilant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Green Book Rules 2.0.
Say it again?
Green Book Rules 2.0.
Not the movie though, right?
No, the real one. Oh.
That's what Black Klansman lost to. Jeeps over here.
It seems like I better take control of this conversation.
That's a black, a trigger. Black,
100%.
green book.
What's your favorite part of the book?
Thank you.
We need to get another check up here.
Really?
Well, so what is different about this book is you learn a little about, people thought that, or think, when you think of Malcolm, we think of this tough, fiery orator. And the fact is that he was human, and that he was very young, and that his life was in danger. There were assassin attempts throughout.
The house set on fire.
Yeah, there were a lot of attempts to kill him, and so just thinking of, when I read his diary, he spoke about feeling so alone, and so this book dives into his Hajj, into my Hajj, and then it allowed, and very intimate parts of his life and experience, and then it allows the reader to ask questions. Who am I? What is my purpose? What am I passionate about? And it is a gift from me to you and the entire audience, and I pray that you are able to walk away with something that fortifies your sense of being, your purpose, your commitment.
I know it's in the book, but what was some of your dearest memories of your dear father when you were very young?
Well, the reality is that, I was telling you backstage that our home was firebombed on February 14th, and we were all babies. 6, 4, 2, yes. 6, 4, 2, an infant, and then my mother was pregnant with twins, and then the following week we went to the Audubon, and that was where he was gunned down, and there you go.
In the early parts of your book,
Speak louder.
in the early parts of your book, you mentioned, and this was a good segue despite what you were saying, thank you for how you responded when you were very young. You mentioned early on in your book that there are some memories that you're not sure if they're accurate or if it's pieces that you just sort of now have put into your mind from documentaries and other, editorials that you've read. Were there any moments in Spike Lee's movie, Malcolm, that really resonated with you, that did trigger something like, I do remember that, I know I've been told that people can remember at 4 years old, I don't remember anything. I do. So I just want to know, was there a question as to Spike Lee's version, and was there parts of that movie that resonated with you that you clearly remember?
What I always say is, my mother, I take my hat off to her, because even the twins, my mother was pregnant with the twins, but if you talk to Malak or Malika, you would never know they'd never seen their father, because she kept him, his presence was throughout our home. Photos, stories, books, the shoes, everything was in our home, and my mother kept the dots connected. I wrote an article for Oprah Daily, and one of the things that I used to do with my father, because I was 2 years old, I was going on 3. And while my older sisters would be in bed sleeping, when he would come home, I'd be there waiting, he'd scoop me up, we'd, eat cookies. My mother would make these homemade cookies, he'd read all the papers. And when he was gunned down, my mother didn't want her daughters to feel an abrupt loss. So she kept the stories going about Daddy. And so I remember as a child looking for my father. I remember looking for him a lot. And so we moved, but I would go to the door, to the window, looking for my father. And my mother would take this cookie, and this is what I write about in the Oprah story, but along with, social justice and all these other things. But she would take a cookie, break it in half, put it on the table by the door. I would go, I'd get a piece of cookie and go back to bed. I think about my mother, and I think about, in spite of all of that heartache and trauma and everything else, that she still took the time to make sure that she raised her and her husband's daughters in a bubble of love, and that she instilled the best of her husband in her and their daughters. And I'm so grateful for that.
I had the honor and the pleasure to know this mother little bit. And I was scared. Her mother did not play. And boy, I mean, I don't really care about reviews or what people think. I was terrified. Your mother.
You were terrified of my mother and my sister?
Yes.
Why? Why were you terrified? Did you have something in your mind?
No, because-
Why were you terrified?
This was about her husband. And so, I mean, it's like this. Also, that the hardest scene you shoot in the film is assassinations. So you ever seen those Wall Street things, where the graph and stuff? So the beginning of the film, I mean, we were like,